This is the High Grade Podcast. Welcome to High Grade Podcast. Today we're here with Elisa Espinosa, owner and COO of Seventh Wave Distribution out of Humboldt, California. Humboldt's in the house today, here in our private distribution in High Grade Supply Co. out of Lower Lake, California. Today I'm here with the beautiful Elisa, and we have been getting to know each other and working together over the past, year? Year, and I heard you just came back from vacation.
Yes.
How was that?
Can you see my tan?
Yes.
I hope I got it. That was the purpose.
You did. You're all golden when you walked in. How was
nice,
it?
though. It was really nice. You know, we have a lot going on with work and the industry and just the stressors that that it brings. So going on vacation was definitely needed for the family, really,
Yeah.
and now I'm ready and back in
You
full
got
effect.
you got a transformed energy.
Yes, I'm ready to work, ready to apply it to,
Yeah.
Our goals and our dreams. So
That's awesome. Now, your distribution is located in what area in Humboldt?
yeah, so it's in Arcata. So I like to call it the heart of the Emerald Triangle. But Arcata has like a specific zone called the Cannabis Innovation Zone. And so we have our little facility there, very humble little facility.
I don't feel like it's that little.
No,
I saw
maybe
the floor
it's
plan.
not.
It's not little.
Not.
It's just a little distribution. I have a manufacturing lab as well.
Yeah.
So, you do have a manufacturing lab.
We do.
So you have a distribution and manufacturing lab where you guys mostly do live rosin, from what I understand.
Yes. So with the manufacturing license, so we have essentially a micro business. And so that allows us to have 3 different types of usage for the license.
Yeah.
We have the distribution side where we can go ahead and transport cannabis right from a supplier to another distro or a retailer. And then we have the manufacturing, which allows us to basically extract and create things within the space that are solventless. So we've focused and honed in on some rosin. We have some really cool extractors on the team that have been living in Humboldt for a few decades now. So I'm really honored to have them on the team because the amount of knowledge that they bring and just craft that they bring to the work is like really inspiring. And so that allows us to do the manufacturing, and then we also have the delivery component where we're essentially able to open up for retail.
So you have a delivery license as well.
Yes.
Oh, that's dope. I mean, I've been, learning about you and your company and really working closely with you on a few things, and I have enjoyed every moment of it. You are a very amazing energy. And
Thank you.
I actually, we've done a few things together where we've kind of kicked back a little bit, and then we've worked really intensely on some things. And I was going to ask you, what was your first experience with cannabis? Like, first memory at all?
Yeah.
What's your first memory at all? I don't know some things about you.
So the first time I consumed cannabis was through smoking, right? Like most of us. And I was 13 years old, turning 14. It was the summer before high school. And I was like, I cannot go into high school not knowing, not having been lit before. So
you got lit?
So I got lit thanks to my older sister. She was like, okay, this is like the moment, that we've been waiting for. It's like time for you to be a teenager. And this was, I guess, that, And so she had a car at the time. It was like a little bucket, and she invited some of her friends. And so I'm like this little middle schooler, about to go into high school. And I'm like ready for this moment to smoke some weed. And so she was really cautious about it and was like, okay, only take one hit because we don't want you to get super lit. And then we don't know what's going to happen. And good for her because, I got super lit that first hit. And from then on, it was like I was sold. Like it was such an amazing experience for me,
What is the experience for you? What was it?
Honestly, like it just, for me, I could describe it like being in bliss, you know what I mean? And it was just so cool that I had my older sister like safely kind of introduce me into cannabis. And it was recreational for me, you know, like after that, I wanted to smoke just to have fun. And I quickly became the school pothead. So
didn't we all? No,
I know, right?
A lot of us cannabis women became the school pothead.
Exactly. So it was fun. And I mean, like, I enjoyed it, like I said, recreationally up until I became an adult. And, I had a child, right? So I had my first daughter a few years back. And within that experience, I had experienced postpartum depression shortly after having her. And so that experience it was hard for me, you know? Like I knew like deep down inside that to be able to get through that, utilizing cannabis could help. But my daughter was... essentially we were still breastfeeding. And so the doctors were very persistent about, don't consume any alcohol, don't consume any cannabis, and like kind of almost fear mongered me into thinking like, okay, I can't try this, medicine. However, they pushed on a bunch of other medicines,
prescription
right?
meds.
Yeah. And so at one point I had to just kind of look at myself and be like, you know what, like if I'm going to take anything, it's going to be something natural, you know? And so, I started to what I like to call microdose cannabis, where I literally would just take like 1 or 2 hits, and that would allow me to be able to kind of go through the day.
Just take the edge off.
Exactly. Yeah. And it helped, like it was a hard time. And I feel like my postpartum depression lasted about 2 years, it wasn't like
that's pretty significant, and to not have any entheogenic plant medicine support through that.
Yeah. And it was like a light bulb, that moment that I just decided, you know what, I'm not going to listen to the doctors. I'm just going to do what I feel like I need for my body.
Yeah.
And it helped me, helped me overcome that really difficult time. And so, that brought me to.
That's amazing. That's a great story about the way that cannabis you can use it as recreation because it's so diverse, but you can also use it medicinally when you need it.
Yeah, and I think the minute that I used it medicinally, it really gave me a different perspective. You know, it changed my mindset on cannabis itself. Like, I didn't have as much gratitude and respect for it when I was just using it recreationally. Yeah. And the minute that I became like a patient, essentially, it just changed my view. I had so much more respect for it.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, all of us have our own relationship with cannabis, and it's transforms over the years. Yeah, I've noticed.
Yeah,
and I think that going into motherhood, I mean, it's a stressful time, especially if it's our first child. Yeah, there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot of responsibility, and I definitely think we deserve a break.
Yeah.
Mentally, emotionally. And I think that cannabis can take us to a place consciously where we can get a little bit of a break, and it can help with stress relief and calming our energy down, because there's just so much more energy and so much more responsibility to deal with.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree that's amazing that you partake in. And now do you smoke daily, weekly? How do you smoke?
Yeah. So my relationship with cannabis is interesting, I guess. I have my moments where I'll consume daily, and then I'll have moments where I like go cold turkey.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't know why. Yeah. It's just like, I guess, really energetic for me, And so most recently I have been smoking every day.
Today I'm a daily smoker.
But what I do right now, I kind of want to have, I like to live my life with purpose, right? Yeah. And everything with intention. And so I utilize it as my pre-workout, really,
Interesting.
Yeah. And sometimes I'll have it like as a recovery at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But right now, my purpose and relationship with cannabis is to use it in that way. So I've been smoking daily, but because I'm working out.
And then how long have you had your business for?
We're going on the 4th year legally. So
right when you had your daughter.
Yeah.
You graduated with a master's degree first off. What year?
I graduated with my master's in 2019.
In what?
In public administration from the University of San Francisco.
Okay.
So, yes, I'm a Don.
That's what's up. Yes.
But yeah, I got my master's degree in 2019. Same time I was pregnant, and I had just gotten married. And then shortly after I had my daughter, I was finishing up the program. And then actually, when I was delivering my daughter, I went to the hospital April 21st, right? The day after 4/20. And we found out we got our permits for the business. So it's just such a full circle moment, you know? And we started operating within 6 months after receiving our permits. So right at the very beginning of 2020.
Okay, so the very beginning of 2020 is when you guys opened your distribution.
Yes.
And then from there, what has been the biggest challenge for you as a business owner in this industry?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say the biggest challenge for me is taking the rides with the industry, you know, going up and then going down and then up again and going down. I strongly believe if you pass your first year, you know, in this business, it's because you love it. You know what I mean? Like you have to have some heart and soul to continue working in cannabis in the way that we're working, you know, and in the industry that's being given to us right now. So that has been the most challenging thing, is just going through all those different ups and downs and the difference, you know, in the regulations, in the industry itself, it's cool to see a lot of innovation happening, you know, within the industry and what the consumers are partaking in. But at the same time, you got to keep up with it, you know, and
definitely.
you like as soon as you.
I mean, the market is just up and down, just like the stock. It's not stable. Like, you know, the stock market's more stable than the cannabis market at this point, and that's scary. For all of us. So we have to have like plan A, B, C, D. You know what I mean? And really have those plans and try to vertically integrate as much as possible, which your business, obviously you have the 3, which is almost vertically integrated, right? Except outside of cultivation.
Correct. Yeah.
So if you had a cultivation, you would be completely vertically integrated.
Yes.
And own every part of the supply chain.
Yes.
That's dope.
It is. And I mean, that's the goal eventually, you know, is to be able to, you know, own kind of a little piece of everything, right? And just kind of partake in a little piece of everything. And we have plans already kind of set up to have like a little mini cultivation site there. So hopefully, you know, in the future at some point that'll happen.
Oh, that's awesome. So you guys might take it there.
We might. It kind of depends. So we really built our business on relationships. You know what I mean? So the relationships we have with a bunch of, you know, of our partners is really what takes us and kind of fuels us with our goals and what we want to do. You know, it's not just me and my husband. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's us and a bunch of team members, you know, and people that we love dearly. And so, based off of like the different, I guess, positive aspects and you know, strong characteristics that we come across in different relationships is kind of like how we choose to move forward with different things, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So how is it working with your husband? You guys are a team, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I've worked with you and your husband, and I'm like so impressed. I love the way that he communicates with you and how you communicate with him. Yeah. And how it really works when you're working with other distributions, because we've done work together. Yeah. You know, we've gone and done some work together, and really, I've been really impressed by your relationship. It's actually inspiring to me as, you know, looking at you guys and how you guys interact with each other and one another. And it's been really cool. It's like, I can't wait to have you guys both on the show. Yeah. And yes, I think that's a different dynamic too.
Oh, it is.
You know what I mean? Like he's hilarious. And with the Jade Club, when we did the Jade Club, we did that huge dinner, you know, flower, food, and wine pairing. What was your outcome of that? How did you feel about that? I mean, because you really like managed that whole situation. Yeah,
I think it was. I mean, it was an incredible situation. You know, it was an incredible experience. I was really proud. You know, like really just kind of that was the overall feeling in the end, was just I was so proud about what you and I together as women actually did. You know, we brought together industry experts, you know, like cultivators that have been in this game like for 10, 20 plus years, you know, generational winemakers, a chef, you know, and the way everything was paired, based off of the terpenes and the taste of the wine and the food. It was such a good experience, and I'm just proud that we were able to merge 3 different industries.
Yeah, no, that was a full-on production. I've had a little bit of time to like process it now. And I'm just like, I was so proud of you too, and just so grateful to like have you, really support everything about the situation. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was a vision you had, and what I like to do behind the scenes is be able to organize it and bring it to life, you know?
I mean, that's your specialty.
Thank you.
But I heard you're specializing in something else now. So you are providing consulting for other businesses in the industry now through your company.
Yeah.
What is that about?
So the last few, I guess the last few years, I've been really learning a lot, right? Like as you do in any industry. And it's been my lifelong dream to be able to teach. And so I felt through the experiences that I kind of went through in the last few years, I'm like ready to start being able to help other operators or potential operators that want to be in this space and kind of learn, and how to navigate this space. It's so difficult to be in. Like when we were starting off, Timo and I wished for somebody to be able to be like, this is how you do it. And this is how you can save money. And this is how you can be sustainable. And so my idea behind branching off and just starting consulting to other business operators is really just to give back and be able to give what I wish I had, during the times that I felt like I needed someone to help me.
So did you, like all the rest of us, spend a whole bunch of money on attorneys and consultants?
Yes.
That didn't tell you shit?
Absolutely.
Oh my God, it was
thousands of dollars.
It's so bad. Thousands and thousands of dollars spent on this. But, the only way that I feel okay with it is like we spent that on our education.
Yeah.
And that's,
absolutely.
if I think of it like college, but this is like a PhD of cannabis, that would be great. The only way that I can be okay with the amount of money that I invested in attorneys, lawyers, consultants, and people to tell me how to do things when they didn't know what to do. But I thought they knew more than me, at least.
Yeah.
The only thing that makes me feel better is like I look at it like college.
Yeah.
And that was what I paid for my tuition.
Yeah.
To really be in the industry in a way that I wanted to be. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I paid for the knowledge just like I paid for my master's degree. And that was the same way. And I was like, I thought about it like that. And I was like, okay, I'm fine with it now.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I think the people, I'm always thankful for the people who did help us along the way, and provided certain services. But I also seen that a lot of people take advantage of the situation,
totally.
and looking back at it with the knowledge that I have, I'm like, dude, that, $5,000 bill, $10,000 bill, maybe $20,000 bill, like was probably not worth that.
No.
You know what I mean? For the information I got.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And even like anybody, if you say you're in cannabis and they're like, oh, well, what business do you have? If you're going to buy real estate or anything.
They just up it up.
They just increase the price on you like you're a millionaire, not that you didn't just struggle to like even make it in this industry for the last 4 years. Put everything that you had into it.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen that in real estate. We've seen it with lawyer fees. We've seen it with engineers and contractors.
Exactly. It was 50% more no matter what.
Insane. And it was
sometimes
just
double.
Yeah. And this was like right when everything everybody thought they were hitting the jackpot. Yeah. You know what I mean? So people were like blindly, including us, just being like, okay, we just need to get the job done because we need to like hit the ground running.
Exactly.
And looking back at it, I'm like, dude, why did we do that? We had to learn, right?
Yeah,
we had to learn essentially. And now it's like looking back at it, I'm like, that's exactly what I don't want to do for people. You know what I mean? Is just essentially like take the money and not provide the essential services, And so that's kind of my way of being like, well, let me try to help the situation here. You know what I mean? Like, let's work together as opposed to just trying to like hit it big one time,
right? And then you also did a soft launch with one of your brands.
Yes.
Last year, right? Or was it the year before?
It was 2 years now.
Yeah, so 2 years you did a soft launch with Naughty Dabs, which is one of the first female-owned rosin companies
Yes.
out in the market.
Yeah.
And where are you with that? Are you thinking about hitting, going back in hard into the retail market? What are you thinking about?
Yeah, so Naughty Dabs, I love that. Like, I love that brand,
What
like
is
my
that
child. So essentially, when I created Naughty Dabs, it was a really spiritual thing for me because during the time I was going through like a spiritual religious kind of journey. And it was something that I manifested during that time. And essentially, for me, it was my way of creating a space for women to feel like they could resonate with products on the shelf. You know, if you go into the shelves nowadays, it's gotten a little bit better, but there wasn't a lot of representation when it came to women, and advertising, marketing to women, and as we know, I mean, this is like a boys club, the way the environment is set up right now. But, that was my way of being like, you know what? No, enough is enough. Let's, let's take up some space, you know? And so I, at the time, was building my relationship with rosin, and understanding dabbing.
Now, what is rosin, though? I would tell me what that is.
Yeah, so rosin is essentially a concentrate. And so it's a form of a concentrate that you extract solventless. So you have to use either like ice, water, pressure to be able to extract the oils essentially from the actual plant and then create this beautiful, amazing raw material, that's like waxy. And depending on the different methods that you use, your craft, like it can come out in many different ways. There's different, I would say, tiers of quality, that you can get from it. And so for me, it's like the purest way of smoking, I feel like, because you're not necessarily smoking the plant matter. It's just the oils, that come out of it. And so I targeted Naughty Dabs as a way of being like, okay, I want to present this to like the top women connoisseurs, that's who I wanted my audience to be, the women that appreciate just getting lit.
Do you hear that? She thought of you.
And
Naughty Dabs.
Yeah. And so that was the, message behind it. But, as you asked, like, what do I want to do with it moving forward? As I mentioned earlier, the industry is just so up and down right now. I think everything is a race to the bottom, just with the way that the cards are dealt in this current moment. But I do want to come back with it, and I do want to come back. I know there's like a lot of Naughty Dabs fans, so I want to be able to just like continue my relationship with them. I just don't know if it's going to be cannabis. I'm thinking maybe more of like clothing, and just kind of coming out with that vibe still. But we'll see.
I liked the dab bar. I went to one of your dab bars.
You did.
I went to what was it? California Finest.
Yes, Lumpy's.
Yeah, Lumpy's California Finest cannabis. What was it? It was a competition.
It was a competition.
Yeah, they had a competition, and they had a dope spot.
They did.
The train.
I know, wasn't it the vibe?
Yeah, you had the VIP train, and you had the most hottest girls ever. Like set up a huge dab bar, and the guys are just coming through getting dabs from this like player, like dope females.
It is.
I walked in there. She's like, "You want a dab?" And she has lingerie looking stuff on. I was like, "Oh my goodness,
yeah,
you guys are so hot." Like, it was crazy, and I was like, "Wow." And then Jesse's like, "Did you go in the VIP?" And I was like, "Who's in the VIP?" And he's like, "Elisa's in there." I was like, "Is she?" I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, we had the idea with the dab bars is to kind of just be able to be in a space that makes it more comfortable.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people find dabbing very intimidating.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of knowledge. A lot of the people who are giving out dabs don't really take the time to be like.
You said that you can even take like a micro dab.
Yeah.
Just like a little bit.
You could take call it baby dabs.
Yeah, baby dabs.
They're baby dabs. And I mean, I think it's like.
definitely a different high.
It is
than flower.
I mean, yeah, you can get smacked. So. It is. But I mean, every category has its own purpose, and has its own kind of reach. And I feel like the dab culture, like as of right now, is missing a lot of a very large audience, you know what I mean? And so the purpose of the dab bars was really just to be able to bring an inclusive space for people to just come and take the fear out of like dabbing, you know, and like realize that this is a method of consumption
Another
that you
way
can choose.
Well, and you can, because of the way that you guys are extracting the rosin.
Yeah.
And I've looked at samples from your facility and smelt them and really been intrigued because a lot of them are single source. And that's like unheard of. So single source rosin is like one strain extracted at one time individually, and that's that strain. So a lot of people and a lot of manufacturing facilities, they put all the trim in there from a whole bunch of different strains and they extract it like that, and then they give it a name, which a lot of people going into dispensaries don't even think about. They don't know that it's not that. But we know. So to find a manufacturer like you that's doing single source rosin, I mean, that's really where you can start tasting the terpenes, the flavonoids, and really understanding those specific strains for all the cannabinoids and things within those strains, because it is single source. And that's really hard to come by. And that's why I thought your Naughty Dabs was super dope, because it was so high end to have those single source strains in your brand like that, right from Humboldt, one of the most, ancient places that cannabis has been grown over the last 100 years, 50 years. I just thought it was a super fly brand. And then with your vibe, I was like, oh yes.
Thank you. Yeah. And I mean, I think the other thing that makes it very special is with our team, with Raina and John, that's the couple that essentially manufactures in our facility. They just adding to that single source, like they have grown their own, and have brought it through this beautiful process from the beginning of a seed to the end product of a dab, So it's
there's a craft in it.
It is
the way that they're doing, the way that they are processing everything.
Yes. And it's just like you said, like there's no better way to highlight the flavor, and just kind of the experience than to have it done in that way. But they also do work with a lot of other farms, in Humboldt, and just the material that you get from Humboldt, obviously not everywhere, but like a good from a good cultivator, it's priceless. Like,
and the Jade Club Tasting Company, which is one of the brands that we're coming out with, we've chosen to do our pre-rolls with you and our infused versions of the pre-rolls. So we'll have some super fire pre-roll packs that are 3.5 grams, 1/8. I can't wait to come out with them. And I'm so excited to work with you on that.
We're really excited too. I think the Jade Club brand for me is really special because I feel like it again takes up space, in an industry that's very needed for people to feel like they're included, and it's targeting a different audience than what we see mainstream. And so we're excited to be a part of that project and be able to bring that vision that you have to life and be just a little piece of that. Because I think it's I don't want to say life-changing, but it's like life-changing, like industry life-changing.
What has been your biggest success?
My biggest success? That is a great question. Personally or professionally?
Both. Let's go personal first.
So I think my biggest success is being able to normalize cannabis within my family.
That is so cool.
So we started in the industry with a fear of telling my family that we were going to be in the industry, And so we had to overcome that, obviously, because we were going to put our all into this, and that's my family, because Timo, my husband, he comes from like a generational lineage.
He's second generation, right?
So he's second generation, and he brings that aspect with it being in his lineage. For me, it was just complete opposite. My parents were like very Catholic. They came from a third world country. They were immigrants here, and so cannabis was just a topic you just don't touch. So being able to show them cannabis through a medicinal lens. My mom's a nurse. So she appreciated seeing it in that way. And we showed it in that way by Timo because he was making topicals, at home and just kind of giving it to the elders in our community. And my parents were able to, use those topicals, kind of see the benefits. And that's what sold them, was being able to bring this plant into a different light for them in their eyes. Yeah. And I call that like my biggest success within the industry, because my dad now eats gummies.
Yeah, you broke through the stigma,
Yes.
and now they're able to partake in things that will help them without side effects.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
amazing. So the plant medicine component to your family was like a gift and a success in your. That's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
That is so beautiful. What about professionally?
Professionally, I think my biggest success is being a woman in cannabis. Like, just point blank. You know what I mean? Being in this industry is so damn hard. It's like, really, like, to be able to just be in this society as a woman can be very difficult, let alone in a very male dominated space, is nerve-wracking for a lot of people, a lot of women, and for me, I had to overcome just, being uncomfortable in these spaces. And I did, you know what I mean? Like, I had to learn to own it. You know what I mean? I had to learn to be like, I'm going to take this space and you talk to me and I give you the decisions, you know what I mean? And so just coming into that, has been my biggest success, really.
Yeah, I mean, you're the COO.
Yeah.
So you are operating your entire company.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's interesting to see, because, you come across different personalities and some people embrace it and some people are really closed off to it.
Yeah. Have you ever had anybody be like, I don't really want to work with you, and you felt like it was because you were a woman?
I've never had them say straight up, I don't want to work with you, but I've witnessed many times them wanting to work with Timo over me.
Yeah,
even though I'm like the brain that fuels everything, like, and so, and I know, you know what I mean? Because when I have the conversations, the attitude or the body language is a little more dry, you know what I mean? Versus when Timo's having it, they're all of a sudden fully engaged, you know what I mean? And so I've been in those situations. But what I've come to terms with is, as long as I get paid by you, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I
this
mean?
Is business.
Okay. You don't want to talk to me? Fine. You don't have the luxury to talk to me. Talk to my husband and I'm still gonna get paid. Okay. Like,
that's what's up. No, for real though. What if you could give any advice to young women wanting to get into the industry?
Yeah.
What would it be?
I would say, don't be scared. I would say go for it. Stick your ground, and then also like build relationships, there is women out there to build relationships with in this space.
I think that's such an important, I think that's such an important perspective to talk with about young women, because when you really think about, if you want to have a business, if you want to create money, if you want to have these things, relationships, money and cash flow is a byproduct of relationships.
Yeah.
And I think for us to acknowledge that, and especially with women are naturally, we naturally create relationships. Yeah. So we're naturally good at business, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And there hasn't been a lot of women in cannabis because it was very dangerous in the past due to prohibition. Mm-hmm. So we didn't get the chance to really shine or even be in that industry until just recently. Yeah. Over the last 20 years, has women emerged from the industry. Yeah. And even then, even just 7 years ago, it was super dangerous to be in at times. Yeah. And prohibition really fueled those, and made situations that really shouldn't be dangerous at all with an ethnogenic plant. Yeah. Sure. It really shouldn't be, but it was. Yeah. And so now we're able to kind of see, we're looking at the end of the opportunity now for women to kind of come into the space. And I am so glad that you say, just go get it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, don't hesitate. Yeah. Yeah. And if you want it, go get it.
For sure. And I think the biggest challenge for people, and even just not even just, on a difference of women, but just in general, is people are so afraid to take the first step of things, and that literally, I think, defines your journey. Exactly. Are you either going to go in it or are you not?
Now, I know that you are a 2-time Emerald Cup judge.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So this year you judged the pre-roll competition.
Yes.
And how was that experience?
Yeah. So since I've been in the Emerald Cup, I've only judged the pre-roll competition. Mm-hmm. And It's quite an experience. Like every single year, and mind you, Timo has done it for like the past 4 years. So
Okay.
I've been able to witness that his like first initial experience and then come into it. But every year is different. You know, every year it's like Christmas. Like because it's so exciting to see the innovation, you know, within the industry and what people are creating, and identifying the very like heavy hitters, you know, and like good craft versus the rest. I mean, if you haven't noticed, I'm like a fan favorite of craft, and
you are.
you know, and just kind of like certain products that really bring that element of clean, that bring that element of love, you know? And so identifying that within the competition is my favorite part, you know, is just seeing like within the product, within the experience, within smoking it, you know, you can tell if something was made with love, if it was carefully thought out, you know, if it was carefully curated. You can just tell. And so that is my favorite part of it. Every year there's something new, you know, every year there's something different. And it's just such an honor, you know, to be able to just like try all these different SKUs.
How many entries were there for the pre-roll competition this year?
This year I believe there was like about 40.
40
so
entries?
40 entries. Last year was about 60. So this year I would say is probably the lowest that I've seen. I mean, but that's not a surprise given the state of the industry, you know? So I still think people really showed out.
And
you
then
know?
who actually won the pre-roll competition, first, second, and third? Do you remember, or at least first place?
I don't remember. We couldn't make it to the end of the show, so we didn't see it. But I know for me, the Dunks was like a really good
What
hash.
was it? Dunks?
Dunks,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. They're a hash hole.
They're a hash hole, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So they
So that
had
was
a
your
really
top
good
pick.
one. Yeah, and I want to say that they did win either first or second place, something.
Okay.
There was, I mean, we judge a bunch of different categories, right?
Yeah.
So there's like infused, non-infused, there's solventless, there's solvent, there's deluxe categories. There's like 6-7 different categories that we have to judge in, you know?
Wow.
So it's not just like one winner. It's like 6 or 7 different first place winners.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so what were your top 3 standouts?
I really liked, me personally, there was a brand called Weed Love, and they had a Halle Berry strain. It was delicious. I loved that one. So that one rated really high for me. I liked the Dunks, like I said.
Yeah.
They entered like 2 or 3 different ones.
Okay,
And
okay.
so
All of them
they
were
all
good?
scored high for me.
my
Yeah,
goodness.
they really did. Yeah, those were like the top standouts for me.
Did you see any pre-rolls that you were like, eh?
Yes, many.
Really?
Yes,
Oh my
there's
God.
many.
So out of the 40, how many were like, eh? Like not cutting it?
If I'm being honest, maybe like 85%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, I find it really hard to find a good pre-roll in the dispensaries.
It is difficult.
Like-
and I think as a consumer, you can't just go in blindly. Like you need to do your research,
and you
because
have to know the brand that you're buying from.
yeah, you have to know who it is. And it's about loyalty right now,
Yeah.
because you can go in there and just be given some nasty
Some
shit.
swag, some
Yeah,
Bammer.
literally.
Straight Bammer weed in the
Literally.
dispensaries, in the pre-rolls, huh?
Yeah, and there was a lot of
I
nasty
know.
shit in the competition too that I was like, I'm sorry for my lungs, you know? Like,
Oh no,
yeah.
really?
Yeah. So
I mean, I really like a few brands, but I would say about 80% of the pre-rolls that I've bought, I feel like it's trim.
yeah.
I feel like they used close trim to put into the pre-roll rather than like smalls or buds.
Yeah.
And I can taste it, the leafy taste.
Yeah.
And then they kind of try to cover it up with concentrate.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, what is this? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because the trim sometimes is all different flavors as
Yeah.
well. It's like a whole bunch of different strains of trim.
Right.
And then they put another concentrate on there that's all different strains as well.
Yeah.
So then the effect of the actual, pre-roll is super crazy.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
it's not clean.
No.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not single source anything.
Yeah.
And so you're just kind of like going with a I guess how they would say it. It's
a
like
wild card.
a wild card, or they're like making soup. You know what I mean? And now that
yeah.
I understand the supply chain and the industry, now I can see how, this is really a way to create products. You know what I mean? Like you create products within the supply chain, and some of the products just aren't quality.
No, not at all. I mean, you can tell, there's obviously different audiences, right?
Yeah.
Like you have your value audience,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, that appreciates a good value for what they're
Yeah.
getting, compromising sometimes the quality,
Yeah.
And I think there's a space for it, but I also think like some of the shit that's out there is just, it's not acceptable. You know what I mean?
My gosh.
Like really, because yeah, I mean, when we really talk about the industry,
Yeah.
especially these like infused pre-rolls that have like disty, in it, like I'm scared to smoke that shit sometimes because I'm like, just given the way that the disty market is right now, and what it's going through, like I feel like I can't trust anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's important to know your research. It's important to know like
It's
what
important
brand.
to know who you're buying from, and that you can trust them to come out with a quality product.
Yeah, for sure.
I really do believe that as well. I'm really not impressed with a lot of the work that I see in the dispensaries. But also, we're pretty picky.
Yeah.
At high grade.
Yeah.
So we're pretty picky, and not everything is going to make our menu.
Yeah.
And I did want to show you this. So this is brought from the Cowboy brand. Shout out to the Cowboy brand. And that is it's an acai mint. It has that little like GMO cookie vibe going on.
It does. It has a little sweet. But it has a little sweet too.
Yep, it does have a little sweet. This is an ICC. And these are both depths. So ICC is just ice cream cake. It's just so abundantly grown, but I've heard it's the top seller in California.
Oh yeah, it is. It's because of the color.
Yeah,
people gravitate towards the color.
Yeah, the purple hue's the ice cream cake,
and it yields a lot.
Yeah, it yields a lot in the cultivation. There's a ton of it in the market. The structure's really good, so it jars well and bags well.
Yeah.
And the consumer continues to like the ice cream cake.
It is, and I wonder how long that's going to be.
I don't know.
I feel like same thing with the candies.
Yeah.
Like how long is this going to last here?
I feel like the candies are going to be around forever now. I feel like ICC, the flavor is really not there for me. Like there's like a creamy vibe to it, but it's just the flavor profile is not complex enough for my palate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and, I see what you're saying.
I smoke. So it's like, okay, yeah, we'll smoke an ICC. And I'm just like,
It's not enough flavor. It
Yeah,
doesn't wow
okay.
you.
Yeah.
It's
all right.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, I've had some good ICC.
Yeah.
That like at a Humboldt, there was a farmer who we knew, had a really close relationship with in Garberville. His name's Dave, and he had Woody Ridge Farms. And he grew some, and I mean...
There's a couple different phenos too. There's like 4 different phenos that I see on a regular basis. And there's one really good one that has a lot of purple and it's gassy.
Yes.
So,
and his was on the purple gassy side, There
is one pheno that I would say is a standout. But for the creamier ones, this is from another farm out of, that's from Ep.02, but that's not from the Cowboy brand. This one, the acai mints, is from the Cowboy brand. And this is straight fire.
Yeah.
He always hits on the terpenes and like the look and everything. This one, I'm just really not impressed with the ICC. Like this is some of the things that just came in today. So we're just taking a look at it right now. It's okay. I think that it's solid. It's a solid strain.
This is good.
But I think bulk, I think it's only worth $300 a pound on the ICC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is good. I like this one.
This one is a GMO vibe, cookie vibe a little bit. But the acai mints, so they must have crossed like Kush mints with acai berry or something like that. I don't know. I was going to ask him about the cut. I don't know where he got it from, but he's coming on the show next week. So
exciting.
Yeah,
okay.
We'll see that. We'll ask him some questions about it to get down to business.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'm just thinking. We can wrap it up. You know what I mean?
It's up to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can wrap it up. And is there anybody you want to thank or anybody?
No.
Okay.
I think it's cheesy. I don't want to be cheesy.
I mean, I went on the Hayes Network, and I did thank a couple people.
Did you?
Yeah.
Aww.
I think my daughters.
Damn, I should have thought of mine, huh? Now you're making me feel bad.
It's so funny. I mean, I really just want to say thank you for coming here today.
Of course.
But also just thank you for supporting me always and helping me to develop everything that I have, in the future.
Yeah.
And you really have been such a solid person and businesswoman. For me, it's been really a great experience getting to know you, working with you, and I just want to say thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Val.
I look forward to continuing to evolve with you.
That's very sweet.
And seeing your business flourish in every way and kind of moving into the future of cannabis. As we know, it's going worldwide, which is very exciting.
It is.
I know. Yeah. What do you think, though, about that? What do you think about it? I heard, there's
I think we're late to the game,
Yeah.
I think we need to go worldwide. I think that's going to save the industry, honestly, in California.
Yeah.
Everybody should be experiencing Humboldt weed. Yeah. Everyone should be experiencing the Emerald Triangle weed. You know what I mean? That's what sets the tone. And unfortunately, a lot of people can't. And so at the very least, we need to be able to cross state lines, you know? And so hopefully, with everything going on that we'll get there, the rescheduling, which I'm not totally a fan of, with the way that they're doing it, but it's a step closer. And hopefully, one day we'll be able to see this worldwide. I think it needs to be distributed to the world, and I want to be able to do it.
So, what's so funny is there's, my daughter's third generation in cannabis. She wants to be in cannabis. And so she already knows that she wants to do this. And, she's going to go to international business school. Nice. She has one more year of high school, and that's her plan.
Good.
Because she wants to be able to do things, with cannabis worldwide in the future. And I'm like, that is the future for sure.
Yeah.
I heard Germany just went fully legal.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take obviously fully legal.
Yeah. Did you hear, though, that they had a situation? I don't know if they have, what kind of government system that they have, but they were going to take legalization out.
Oh.
After they had legalized
it?
Yeah, they were I don't know if it's a prime minister or president or whoever is governing the country, but he proposed to make cannabis illegal again. And it was a big old thing, a big old shakeup in the industry.
Wow.
Yeah, but then he just recently, a week or two ago, came out and was like, okay, we're not going to legalize it. We're going to leave it. I think he got so much just protest and outrage from it. So,
I think that there's a lot of room for us as well as professionals worldwide.
Yeah.
Because we have so much experience with cannabis.
Yeah.
There is definitely an opportunity worldwide to do consulting and different things of that nature as every country comes online with cannabis.
Yeah.
Not even all the states are online yet, but a lot of them are.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's just that Midwest, that Midwest
those
little
last few.
Yeah, that
I
usually
do want to see it. I kind of want to look into just thinking about the future and kind of where I want to go with it.
Yeah.
I really want to go into Central America, because I'm Salvadorian, right?
Yeah.
So my family's from El Salvador. And right now, cannabis is not even a topic on the table, but I'm hopeful that in my lifetime it will be. And I want to see it, kind of go there. And the reason why is because I feel like a lot of the genetics that are getting lost right now, especially the sativas, would probably thrive over there. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. Brazil is on point. I heard they just went rec and medical, right?
That I'm not sure.
I don't know if they went rec or medical, but I know that they just went online.
Yeah,
and
they did.
They just, in a big way.
Yeah.
And a lot of countries are growing and everything now, learning to, control the climates with the greenhouses more and things like that. But nothing is going to outdo Northern California. Nothing can outdo Northern Cali.
It won't.
This is the best weed in the world.
It is. And it's fucked up. People don't have access to it.
Oh, yeah. No.
So I can't wait for that day. I'm going to be celebrating for sure.
You're going to be getting the whole world high?
Yes, that's what I want to do. That's the goal.
Whole world high. That's dope. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Yes,
and we just want to make sure to get you back on the show to definitely check in with you later on, because I know you guys have a lot up your sleeve.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited for that. And thank you for your contribution to the Emerald Cup. And everything that you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Val. And you don't have to put this on, but I do want to say I really appreciate your words of me and just kind of like how you view me as a businesswoman. It's like really nice to hear that from you, like especially you, because I admire you and I'm inspired by you and what you do and what you've accomplished, you know?
Thank you so much.
It really means a lot to me to hear that from you.
Thank you so much.